Today we're going to build a new background. Hi guys and welcome back to a new Photoshop tutorial. My name is Manny. You can find me on our Facebook page at Retutpro. In this tutorial I'm going to teach you guys how to actually create a background from scratch. So we're basically going to take the idea and concept from our pro tutorial, Instagrammer number 2, and we're going to apply this to today's Photoshop tutorial. So basically meaning we're going to take one shot of that whole pro tutorial and we're going to take two different shots from backgrounds and build a new background. Now today in this tutorial I'm basically going to explain my workflows, techniques and ideas and thoughts behind the whole process, but I'm not going to show you guys the complete retouching. More of that you can find in our pro tutorial. Yeah, that's also it. Let's get into the tutorial. Okay, so I've already imported our whole image here from our subject, as you guys can see. So we're going to now build a complete new background for him. I'm going to turn off this layer and turn on the after. So this is literally after photoshopping already for 1.5 hours. This is what I want to show you guys easily today, how you can help yourself to build this kind of a background plate. This obviously involves way more color grading, dodge and burn, light control and overall grunge effect, blurring, a lot of different techniques. So I'm not going to show this in this today's tutorial. What I want to show you guys is how to easily understand how to help yourself to build a background like this from scratch, just from this starting point. Alright, so let's also start with that. Once we're also done with all techniques, I'm going to show you guys quickly a whole run through this PSD file. But if you want to know more about this, check out our pro tutorial. I'll explain all my details into depth in that. Alright, so what I'm going to do now, I'm going to turn on person, also press F for full screen mode, get out of that, and show you guys, first of all, this is alley shot number 1, so my background plate for number 1 and for number 2. Now it was a little bit hard for me. I wanted to find one solid alley, but I couldn't, so I took two shots, one for the right hand side and one for the left, and both of them look kind of scary, look graffiti there, so that can kind of suit the image as well. Alright, so let's get started. I'm going to drag out both layers here, both canvases, and just take the layers here, hold shift, move them over to our subject layer. Okay, I'm going to close that, don't need that anymore, and the second canvas over here, move that as well in here, and just close that as well, don't need that. F for full screen mode again, and we already have both our layers in here. Both are smart objects as well, as you guys can see. I want to rasterize them because we're going to cut them out and I don't need to work with smart objects today. So hold shift, select both of them. First of all, I'm going to hit right click, say rasterize that layer, move them a little bit down underneath of person and press command G, creating a nice group here, call that background. And normally I create groups, as you guys know, because I want to keep my file nice and sorted. Command G as well for the person over here and just write person. Now as well, I'm working with the Mac. If you guys hear me saying command, for the Windows guys just use control. Alright, so we've got person. I'm going to start also with person, but before I start with that I want to create another group here from the bottom just called help layer. Now I'm just showing this because it helps you guys. I normally don't always create help layers for myself, but this is the kind of thing you need to decide for yourself. Help layers, there we go. Okay, so first of all, what I want to do is maybe just build with the help layers a little bit of a crop here. So I'm going to do a new, just an empty layer, and I'm just going to write here crop for the end. So this is basically, if you wanted to also create a little bit of a crop, a cinematic feel, so kind of this kind of thing here. Let me just show it. So you just have this as your last frame. So then again, what I normally do is just build 2 black frames, but I guess you guys know about that. It's super easy to build some. Just go here to the marking tool, the rectangular marking tool, and just make a rough selection like so. So this is kind of where I want to close it. I'm still going to move my person down a little bit. Maybe let's do that first of all. I'm going to press command D, go to the person layer first of all, and just move the person over a little bit. Somewhere over here, just down a little bit. The reason why I'm also doing this, let me talk you guys through it right away. I'm just going to create a new help layer again, just right here 1 so you guys know where we are. New foreground color, maybe red. Okay, so what I want to try to build today with also my background, I want to create a little bit of a sense of depth in the whole image. So kind of the viewer's eye is wandering through the whole picture. First of all, I don't know where my person is going to be now, but first of all, from the person going all the way to the back, somewhere in the back of the image, coming back again to the foreground and then again back to the person. So kind of a triangle thing here. Again going like this. So for me, my person needs to be somewhere now over here, the background over here. That's why also that was the whole idea already while I shot this image. That's why we also have rim light, etc. That's why we lit it out like this. But now, again, triangle. First of all, person, background, and foreground, and then maybe obviously walls, but just leading the person's eye like a triangle through the picture, talking to the person who's viewing this. Okay, so my idea now is to move the person somewhere over here. So we can create with the background here a nice depth. Then also what I'm going to do is maybe just for the crop now, go back to the marking tool, rectangular marking tool, literally just going to make a selection like so. As well, going to hold shift to add to the selection and just create another selection somewhere over here. And that might just change as well a little bit throughout the time. But that's for the starting point, just my start. M for marking tool, right click, and let's fill this up with complete blackness under the contents here. Okay. And that's the first start ready. So again, Command D out of the selection. So this is the kind of angle and frame that I want. Alright, so next step that I'm going to do is also for the background now. We need to first of all work out the person. So let's change the help layers away here. Crop. We can actually just turn off the help layer. Group. Like so. And also background layer. So just person. I'm going to zoom a little bit closer. And also I'm going to work with the pen tool now and cut out my complete person here. If you are not familiar with the pen tool, please have a look under my free tutorials there. I've showed a nice tutorial, actually created a good tutorial explaining the whole pen tool into depth. So again, I'm going to fast forward the video a little bit so you guys don't need to sit here and watch me for the whole time working with the pen tool for those of you who know how to work with this. Okay, so as you guys can see, I'm just almost done with the path as well. I'm going to go all the way around here. And that was a little step too quick, so let's just select the last anchor point. And also guys, I'm doing this really quickly and roughly as well. Spend a bit more time when you work with the pen tool. Okay, let's also just fill up the whole path over here. I'm just going to go all the way, last anchor point, and again complete the path. Alright, nice. So now we've created a new path around our person. Next step that I'm going to do in the pen tool mode, still right click and say make a selection out of this. Now as well, very important, zero feathering please, hit OK, and we've got a nice selection around the person. Now I'm going to go to the mask icon down here, select just the mask, and we directly already have a mask just around the person. Now for those of you who already know about this as well, there's also a technique here with the quick selection tool. You guys can use the quick selection tool to just make a nice selection around the person, then literally create a mask, and then as well hit right click over here and say refine mask. So then you can refine the edges and you can cut out the person quicker than with the pen tool. But I'm more old school. I love actually that I can work just with the pen tool, have a clean cut out, and then again just go on with the brush, go in back in here, yeah, and just refine my mask manually and personally. I just love the fact that I can do it manually with different opacities, different brush sizes, softness, hardness. It just gives me more control. So I'm more a fan of doing it that way. Okay, great, but you're not here for that. We want to create another background now. So what we're doing now, first of all, we had now just our first adjustment here just for the sense of perspective and also depth. What I want to do now is create a little bit of help lines and guidelines to kind of just create a depth, as you guys can actually see already right now already with just this image over here. But this looks kind of boring. So that's why we obviously also have another shot here. So what I want to do is basically turn, maybe just rename this first of all, so 2, or we can actually rename that to 1 because it's left wall and the right wall number 2. I'm also going to move that to the top. I'm going to take layer number 1 now. As you guys can also see, my crop is constantly on because I'm already cropping it, so I kind of see what's happening here at the top. Do I need to add a new sky, or what's happening? Again, I'm going to select background layer number 1 and just move this over a little bit until where I think, yeah, that could be kind of a depth that I want in my image. So something like this. Also, my main idea before I started even photoshopping was to lit him obviously from the back, because I want to have a light here in the background kind of illuminating the background, and that's why he would also have a rim light like that. Then he's walking through an alley. From the front we have another light, so there's kind of a light spilling here on his face. This whole project was shot for our pro tutorial, where he's kind of taking a photo, a selfie of himself while walking through a scary alley. So we had the idea to also, he's walking under a lamp or something with taking a shot. So again, we're adding another phone on top here for the pro tutorial, which is not the case in this whole Photoshop process, but it kind of works the same way. So again, the idea is to put a light here in the back, have a sense of depth. So the viewer again leads his eye all the way to the back. Let's maybe just create a new help line here as well. B for the brush, I want to make it a little bit smaller. So again, you're leading from here to the back, somewhere over here, all the way to the front and back again. So there's one triangle ready. Now I want to add a new sky or something. So again, if you add also a new sky with maybe a bird or something at the top here, again, the viewer is leaded from the foreground, from the subject, back to the top, back to the bottom, and back to him again. So again, another triangle there. The same also if you have a big wall over here, which will be our background again later. We have from the foreground back to the subject, maybe back over here and back over there. In images you can find so many triangles, and that's kind of where it takes your images to another level. So again, try to build that as well in there. Okay, so enough about that. You kind of get the understanding for that. Now what I want to show you guys, what I normally use to create a perfect background, I work with help lines. So again, I'm going to go over here to the move tool, select just from the ruler a first guideline. I'm going to move it all the way down. And as well, if you don't have the ruler here at the top, please just go to view and select rulers. Okay, let's create another guideline as well from the top, somewhere over here. So I'm trying to create a little bit of a, just a square here in the back. A little bit more and somewhere over there. So this is my main focus at the back, and obviously foreground here. So again, I'm going to bring also another help line over here, another help line over here, another one at the bottom, and the last one for the top. Okay, great. So we've got these help lines now. Now next step, let's also just create another new help line over here. And what I'm going to do now is first of all just adjust my brush. So B for the brush. I'm also working with a Vacuum Continuous 5 Pro tablet. So via my wheel here, I'm able to change my brush size really quickly up and down. Normally, if you don't have that, you can use Control Alt together, hold them together, move left and right, and change your brush size like that, and up and down, change your hardness. So again, what I'm going to do is switch it all the way to 0. Okay, and if you don't have that, you can also use the brackets here and closing and opening bracket to change your brush size as well. Alright, so I'm going to make my brush size really small, and also hardness, I want to have that actually super hard. Right, okay, so let's make it small. Now I'm going to take P for the pen tool again, and literally I'm going to put an anchor point over here and somewhere over here. So that's already just my leading you again for the street here, so I kind of have a right line. Go all the way over here and create another path, just like so. So these two lines kind of help me already to know where the walls will be from the background. Sometimes also like this now, maybe the path could actually go a little bit down here. So it's kind of the same like over here, not at this angle, because the angles are obviously not the same. But these lines just help you to place your backgrounds a little bit better. Again, I'm going to press right click, and this is why we adjusted our brush. So we can say stroke path now, select our brush over here with red foreground color, OK, and that whole path will be obviously stroked. Yeah, okay, so I'm going to press escape again. Also move that maybe just to the top so we can actually see where the help lines will be. And I'm going to do the same process for this top as well. Over here and over here. Okay, and continuing like so, and again having a new path. Again, this line might be a little bit heavy, like I said earlier with this as well. So it would be better if we can actually delete this path again over here. Just showing you guys quickly, I wouldn't do this now. Path like so actually, that could also work pretty nice, and it would actually be pretty much the same as we have over here. Okay, let's leave it like so. You guys kind of get the point. I can press right click and say stroke path. Okay, double escape here, get out of that, and these are our new help lines as well now. So I'm going to work towards these now with, again, the backgrounds. Alright, so let's first of all select background layer number 1. I'm going to create a mask as well for that. Select layer number 2 here, and also create a mask first of all. Now let's start with layer number 1. We're kind of happy already with just the position. We don't need to move anything. Yeah, we're going to leave it there. First of all, what I'm going to do is also go to the mask over here and marking tool once again, and we're just going to create a complete big selection like so. Right click, and we're going to fill this with black. So again, hide all of that. Cool. Command D out of the selection, and we already have hidden all of that. If the guidelines are a little bit distracting, like they're distracting me a bit now, I'm going to go to view and just say clear guides. So they're all out, and I just can work with this help line to understand where I want to push stuff. Okay, great. Now as well, what I want to do with this background layer here, I just need to select the layer, not the mask. I'm going to go to edit, transform, and go just to perspective. So again, select perspective. Also turn on the help layer before that. So again, enable that process, help layer on, again this layer, edit, and transform. Perspective. And now what I want to do is just take these anchor points here on the left side or right side, move them up and down to kind of distort the image and change the perspective a little bit. Let me show that also to you guys. If I'm going to move it up, it's going to go a little bit denser. If I'm going to move it down, it's going to narrow it a little bit further. Okay, so it's kind of helping me to just create a better perspective here as well. So just going to take them down just a little bit. Okay, not too much. Something like so. Okay, going to accept that. And now I'm also able to move my whole subject here and the right hand side background layer a little bit to the left again. Okay, so that's the starting point again. We can also turn off the help layer. And this is also a little bit of a personal feel and touch here, how you want to create or what you want to create. I'm going to select the person layer here, press V for the move tool. Yeah, and just move him over a little bit. That will also give me a little bit more room to play here just with this background layer. Again, a little bit over, and it actually works already pretty good for this image. Now as well, I'm also going to take layer number 2 here, also on the mask again. We can have a look here. Most of that is hidden already due to the first layer here, but if you want to ensure yourself, just select again the mask, marking tool, literally select everything halfway to the person, right click, and say fill with black. Okay, so that's hidden completely as well. Command D, we're going to select now first of all just the layer here. Move that a little bit around, so kind of like this. And also I'm going to select again my help layers here. And this can be kind of, because we're obviously not seeing the bottom and the ground. So this kind of is a little bit easier, the process. But if you see the background and the ground, try to work with these lines as well. I'm going to select again the layer over here. Go to edit, transform, and perspective once again. This is kind of just a test. I'm not sure if I'm going to go with this or not. So I'm testing it. Again, I'm going to take it down a little bit. Up a little bit. Okay, I think up actually works a bit better. Let's start with, yeah, something like so. Okay, now I just need to go back onto the mask and refine that background as well a little bit. Okay, I'm going to go back to the mask over here, B for the brush, make it a bit bigger, and again with white foreground color, I'm just going to make all of that visible, like so. Okay, let's also turn off the help layer here, and this is already kind of my first step. Let's move this a little bit over, so I'm kind of still seeing where I can position this, maybe like so. This looks actually a little bit nicer. Again, B for the brush and select the mask, refine the edges here. Alright, yeah, and that's basically all that I wanted to show you guys already. Basically that you kind of get an understanding of my workflow here, again with cropping maybe all the way to the top. The help layers, so you kind of getting an understand of the depth, the triangles, have a look for that, and also work with these for just the transform mode here if you want to work with the perspective. Okay, yeah, but now after all, this is still far from finished. You guys still need to refine the mask, still need to work in light for the background, light for the foreground, light for the two walls, so controlling all of that. And as promised earlier, I'm still going to show you guys now my complete PSD file so you guys can get a better understanding of what I'm still doing until it all merges together and looks more real. But this tutorial is all about just understanding and getting you easier there to build your own little backgrounds. Okay, so as you guys can see, I've also opened again the PSD file. So let's literally start right at the bottom. So again, this is what I mean. You guys need to sit and work a little bit more just on the light control. So first of all, just controlling light here for one certain background. And let's turn all of that off. So again, background number 1. As you guys can see, also I've distorted a little bit differently here from our tutorial. Here again, creating just a little bit of light control for that. Then again, darkening it a little bit more, creating again another background on the right hand side with the, distorting that as well, the perspective. Then as well, darkening the sky completely here, filling a complete new sky in, because that obviously looks completely different. And again, if you can, add like a bird or something at the top, so the eye goes back again into the top, back to the foreground, and back to the person again. Also over here, darkening that a little bit. That was pretty much just the start. Then as well, also adding your person, obviously. And now I've already got a little trick in here, just turning that off again, the flare. What I've created here, first of all, with light control is keeping the center a little bit lighter and the outside a little bit darker. So this was also now my rough starting point with, again, just the help layer on top as I showed you earlier. Then I went in and for the background, first of all, just created a kind of a sense that there is a light or something in the back with a bit of flare and a little bit of a orange flare as well. So kind of a light coming from the back. That's why I also shot this in this kind of way with a little bit of a rim light here over the top and obviously light from the front. Okay, so that's all for just the background. Then obviously this light needs to spill a little bit over to your subject. So again, added that a little bit on top of the subject here, as you guys could see, like so. Okay, turning that off again. Then a complete new light control for the overall image a little bit. We've got light coming from the front, light from the back, and then obviously color grading. You add more colors to this, push everything a little bit, and this is not really a lot of stuff, just maybe curves adjustment layer again, some selective color, here and there a little bit of pop with a certain different technique. Yeah, and then overall some final touches. Dodge and burns plays a big role in this. Then as well, hue and saturation, saturating that a little bit. Yeah, and this is so far my final touches just for my halfway pre-stage. Now I would go in, refine a little bit the beard hairs, refine the mask, refine the hairs, and still Photoshop most probably half an hour to hour on this and refine and get more out of it. Yeah, but that's so far all that I wanted to show you guys again for this tutorial. If you want to learn more about that, check out our pro tutorial where I explain all of this into depth. Okay, yeah, so that is basically all about the PSD file as well and the Photoshop tutorial. I hope you guys got a little bit of an insight here and understand how I Photoshop on this. Now again, this is not finished, it's still far from finished, still need to do loads of touches, but if you want to learn more about that, check out our pro tutorial Instagram and number 2 on our new website. Hopefully launching really soon now. Then as well, guys, if you have any questions about them, post them down below in the comment box. I'm happy to interact with you guys and talk. I'm doing that quite a lot at the moment, so it's great to also meet all of you viewers out there. Yeah, then as well, hit the thumbs up if you like this episode, share it with your friends, subscribe. Yeah, and also I'm going to be gone for 2 weeks now, so again, next episode is going to come in 2 weeks, the behind the scenes and live talk for exactly this whole image here and the pro tutorial. Yeah, and that's basically all. I'm not gone, I'm just on a small trip. So yeah guys, thanks again for watching and I'll see you all next time. Bye bye.